Akash INTI, the real reflection of you. Alright, so today I'm talking on movement. Why am I talking about movement today? Well, it's something I've actually realized that's really, really important. And I guess I've re-realized it, right? It would be a lie to be like, this is the first time I've ever noticed that movement is kind of important. No, that would be a complete lie. No, I just re-recognize the importance of it, right? I studied yoga, right? I teach yoga. So obviously, that's movement is a very important part of yoga in the sense of the postures that one goes through during a yoga practice are very, how would I say this? They're very distinct, they're very selective, maybe very unique, sui generis of their own kind. That's a little Latin right there. In other words, yoga has a particular set of movements. Now, I also study martial arts, and martial arts similarly has a set of movements. Dance, any type of dance. I did a little bit of ballroom, and this isn't check me out, these are all the different things that I do. No, it's just I've noticed movement is a very important part of life, right? Even walking, running, swimming. There's all different types of movements that are most effective for each particular activity, to say the least. So there's that, right? Within each particular activity, there's certain movements that are very, very important for the activity itself. And there's also a movement to life in and of itself, right? Waking up, there's a movement to waking up or maybe going to sleep, right? There's certain movements that we make. When I say movement, I really mean what's the way that we maneuver our body? What's the way that we move our breath as well, right? There is a movement to when you're falling asleep, as you fall asleep, and this is something I think is really, really interesting. You can tell if someone's sleeping by their breath, right? I remember when I was a little kid, I would try to read I didn't really read comic books. I would try to play Game Boy, or I would read books. So it wasn't comic books, it was books, right? Or I don't think iPads or anything were out back then, but something like that. Those would be the couple things I would like to do. And so I would try to do that late at night, and obviously my mom and dad are making sure all right, is the kid asleep? So I would try to pretend to be asleep. And how would I pretend to be asleep? Well, I would just close my eyes and stuff, right? Well, it doesn't always really work. I've got a little brother. He tries to do the same stuff. But what I noticed is that I can tell if I just hover over him for a few minutes and I just look at his breath pattern. Is his breath pattern very deep or is it shallow? Right? When we're awake, our breath pattern tends, unless you're a practiced yogi or someone who's incredibly practiced at breath work, your breath is probably pretty shallow, right? So, that's an invitation to deepen your breath just a touch right now, which is always nice. But it's also a recognition that our breath is a way of movement as well. So there's movements of the body, there's movements of the breath. What else is there movements of? Well, there's movement of the mind, right? And one of the interesting things that we already know is that our mind and our body are connected, right? This is something that's super well explored within yoga at the very least, or Chinese medicine, or just Eastern philosophy, medicine, whatever you want to call it, right? The whole idea that the mind and the body have a connection, right? So if you notice yourself just kind of sitting down, not moving around all too much during the day, well, what happens? Your brain tends to dull a little bit. Maybe you get a little bit more lethargic. Your breath tends to be even more shallow. And I don't know, you're just not moving around right much, right? So that has a huge impact on the mind, right? Like I mentioned, you get a little bit dull. That's maybe when some of the negative thoughts start coming in. Am I doing the right thing? Why am I not doing things right? Maybe I'm not good enough. All these just negative thoughts, right, tend to come up. But if we're moving around a lot, deepening our breath a touch more, exercising for sure. All these types of things, we notice that when we're in movements, we're moving a lot. We're exercising more. Our body is getting a little bit more, it's flexing and relaxing. It's just tensing in different ways, but in a healthy way, right? It's healthy stress. And so what ends up happening is that the brain becomes a touch sharper, right? I don't know about you, but post a workout, maybe yoga, maybe swimming, which is what I just came from. all these steps to any type of exercise that you do, right? Whatever exercise that you do, this is, and like I mentioned, I just mentioned a couple for me, but post that, we tend to have a little bit more sharper of a mind. We tend to be a little bit more on focus. I know post martial arts class, man, I feel like on top of the world, right? It's just like this laser beam of focus. Breath tends to be a bit deeper. And the thing is, this thing, like kind of this whole exercise thing, it lasts maybe, depending on the exercise you do and how intense you go, I don't know, if it's like kind of a moderate workout, maybe 45 minutes, an hour, maybe 2 hours stretch. If you're going like a really intense workout, I mean, that thing could last, I don't know, 4, 8 hours even, right? So that's why multiple workouts in a day is always great, but not necessarily, it's not a necessity, right? It just depends on how do you want to live your life. Lifestyle, right? That's what lifestyle is. Anyways, I say all of this because I've just re-recognized the importance of movement. Today I was moving around a lot. Everything from food shopping with my mom to, which we went to like, 4 or 5, maybe even 6 different stores, to swimming, to I'm walking home right now, got martial arts later tonight. Lots of movement for me today, at least compared to maybe when I'm just sitting at home and only in the local environment of my home. So again, I'm just recognizing that the movements are really, really important. It could be the yoga movements. It could be the swimming movements. There's these different strokes. It could be the martial arts movements. And those are just a few different types, right? Like there's specific movements, even within yoga itself. Like there's no specific movements that are known. Oh, you got lower back pain? Try this particular posture. Oh, your legs are a little tense or your hips are really tight. Try this particular posture. Oh, your shoulders are tight. Try this posture. So even within that, there's a recognition that certain movements are most beneficial for certain parts of the body. So I say all this because obviously there's a connection to the mind, and it's just a reminder to me because, I mean, I don't know, like I said, I make these videos really for me, so I can look back on them in the future. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm just thinking, whatever. Whoever watches these, and that's it. To some degree, there is a little bit of that. But I also kind of enjoy the consistency elements of it, right? It's like, all right, well, let me produce a little bit of content, whether it be educational, entertaining, none of the above, all of the above. It's easy. But I say all this because, I don't know, it's important, you know? So that's what I got for today. And remember, keep up, thrive, stay sexy.